London Underground strike. Commuters face chaos as train drivers vote to walk out.
Here's a summary of the article.
ASLEF union members have secured 99% yes vote in a ballot over protecting working conditions and pensions. Nearly 1,400 tube drivers were involved in voting in the ballot, with only 16 drivers voting against strike action. Tube train drivers were asked, "Are you prepared to take part in industrial action consisting of a strike?" Government cuts to its funding, together with a fall in passenger numbers since the COVID pandemic, have led to a financial crisis at TfL. Management and government now want to plug that funding gap by slashing staff pensions and tearing up our agreed working conditions. Management should be in no doubt that if they try to force through changes to our agreements, working conditions, or pensions, there will be hard-hitting and sustained industrial action across London Underground. Our members showed huge courage and determination in keeping underground services operating throughout the pandemic. They do not deserve to be treated like this and are determined, as this vote shows, to protect their working conditions and pensions. Mick Whalen, General Secretary of ASLEF, said, "Last year Boris Johnson stood on the steps of Downing Street and applauded essential workers. Now his government wants to cut our pensions and attack our working conditions." He added, "It's up to Boris Johnson to step up and do the right thing to help keep the capital moving. He was, once, Mayor of London, and should understand how the capital works, rather than lead a government that hands out dodgy PPE contracts and backs ministers who break the rules on lobbying."
This post received a score of 3,300, with an upvote ratio of 98%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
How do labor agreements work in the UK? It seems they are non-binding and companies can just decide to fire, rehire or make adjustments whenever they want. Could workers do the same and just decide one day to demand a higher wage despite an agreement in place? Transport for London is a public body and as such different rules apply. Add to that most of their members belong to Unison, one of the most powerful unions in the land. Even if you could sack all of those drivers, suddenly you'd have no drivers. Arguably it wouldn't take long to train up a new batch, but how long is too long to shut the entire network down?
Training a new train driver is actually a pretty long process. It's not an easy position to fill.
That's why people are pushing for automation. Yes, automated trains are a thing. Singapore has automated trains for years now. Source: I'm in Singapore. London has them too. The DLR is automated. Automating the tube gets suggested every now and then, but surprise, surprise, the unions tend to react strongly.
I mean, if your job is on the line replaceable by robots, which you get paid a shit ton and you have a very significant pension, and you have no other job perspective, of course you are going to tell your unions to stop you from losing your job.
Seems kinda unfair to say commuter chaos. Pedestrian cardio sounds better.
One hell of a cardio day. The furthest tube station out, Chesham, is about 10 hours walk from central London. Even a reasonable terminus within Greater London like Stanmore, end of the Jubilee line, is a 4-hour walk.
Well, if the strike continues we should see a measurable improvement in performance.
This is when companies should practice their work-from-home protocols.
Greater than Mick Whelan, General Secretary of ASLEF, said, "Last year Boris Johnson stood on the steps of Downing Street and applauded essential workers. Now his government wants to cut our pensions and attack our working conditions. Johnson is just killing it. Great choice for a leader."
British voters keep choosing the Tories. This is clearly the government that the people want.
Don't London pretty much run on public trans?
It do, yeah. Most large European cities do, actually. Usually when the commuter train or metropolitan railway services go south, everyone just falls back to the often already strained urban and suburban bus systems. Some metro areas plan their buses as feeders for the railways, so when the latter go bye-bye, you have chaos at the buses as well. Lol. Loved me some 30-plus minute delays in a bus line with usually a 5-minute headway frequency, because the metro shat itself.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.